Hello, animators and artists. If you follow animation closely, you've probably heard of a studio called Mercury Filmworks, or at the very least seen their work. The Emmy Award-winning Canadian studio's recent projects include shows like Kid Cosmic, Centaur World, and Hilda, and the studio recently started an internal short development program called Mercury Shorts. We invited three artists from the studio as well as participants from the program to discuss their films and their experiences creating original shorts. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Rebecca, Shane, and Melissa. And for our viewers, if you are watching this as we go live, feel free to type your questions into the chat, and they might come out of my mouth. Let's get introductions out of the way. Let's start with Rebecca. What is your current role at Mercury Filmworks? And without getting into details that would be under NDA, how would you describe a typical day in your role at the studio?
So I am an animator at Mercury Filmworks. I actually was a scene fixer for about a year. And then once that ended, they just put me back as animator. Normally my day starts, I would like to say 9 to 5, but it's usually whenever I show up. But it's always an 8-hour day. But my first thing I do is I go around the studio to say hello to everyone because it's nice to see people throughout the day, and then just prep my week, and just work my ass off.
All right. And Shane, same question. What is your current role at Mercury Filmworks, and how would you describe a typical day-to-day role at the studio?
All right. So the current role is I'm senior animator on Mickey. But it's been a year of I have a constant revolving door into development and then back to animation, into development, back to animation, doing some design work and then back to animation. But today, senior animator.
All right. And Melissa, what is your role at Mercury Filmworks, and what does a typical day-to-day look like for you?
Absolutely. So I'm an animation supervisor at Mercury right now. So my day-to-day is really nice and fun for me because I like being a support to people. So I'm usually looking through scenes, helping people push their acting. We talk about different techniques and things we can try. And then we talk about when we don't do those techniques and things to try because we need to get stuff done. It's just a really, really nice sort of schedule throughout the week, and it changes from day to day because everyone's needs change every day too, so keeps me on my toes. It's kind of me in a nutshell.
Those are your day-to-day roles, but we're talking about something totally different. So Melissa, how would you describe the Mercury Shorts program, and what led to you becoming involved in the initiative?
So the Mercury Shorts program, the way that I would describe it is kind of like an opportunity for anybody here. It doesn't really just have to be animators. It could be a layout artist, background artist, or not even an artist that's working at the studio. And it gives you an opportunity to bring your ideas forward and create something with the support of the studio behind you. And that to me is just such an amazing thing because we do so much in our day-to-day that's for clients, and we don't always get a chance to express ourselves and do what really, really speaks to us to our core. And if we try to do that, it takes forever, as the nature of the business goes. So it was just such a great opportunity to make a commitment that was kind of on a smaller timescale basis to do something that really, really means a lot to myself, and I'm sure for Shane and Rebecca too, means something to them as well. Something very personal and unique.
And you mentioned you got support from the studio. What did that sort of support look like?
Absolutely. So that's kind of in regards to whatever you would need for your film. If you needed some extra hands to get stuff done, I know I did. Some support on things that you can try if you've never been in certain parts of the pipeline. For example, compositing is not something that a lot of animators know how to do. So there would be a compositing artist there to help them. Getting music and stuff like that. We had a lot of resources available to us so that we could bring our shorts to life, essentially. But at the same time, it was still completely our project. So it was there for us if we wanted it. It wasn't like forced upon us to use it. And of course, also being able to use the studio space and, have access to the softwares and like licenses and like all that kind of stuff too. So in that kind of perspective is the support that we got for this program.
All right, that's really cool. Shane, similar question. How was the shorts program pitched to you, and what led to you becoming involved in the initiative?
Excuse me. There was always rumors that we were going to start something like that, or a window. We were always looking for the window, at least, and like everything Melissa said, it kind of came out pretty quick that we were going to do it, and I just jumped on it like right away. I was like, "Oh my god! Like it's actually happening!" And then as soon as they gave the green light, I like that night I just started doing the Leica, but it was just the pop of it being the inaugural like push, or we were the inaugural team to do it. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." It was variance like just to be at the first team was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Rebecca, how would you describe the shorts program and what led to you becoming involved?
Well, I was already creating these characters and I had the rigs already done. I was part of it's called Pitch This for the animation festival. So I tried that. I didn't get in. But then I think shortly right after the shorts program started, and I was like, well, I already got the rigs done. And then I think it was all Heath like really encouraged me to join it. So yeah, like just I already had so much stuff done on the side already, so I was like, I may as well try it out.
All right, well, with that in mind, I wanted to ask each of you about your films. And for those of our audience who haven't already seen the film, Rebecca, I wanted to ask you how you would describe Royal Pain.
Well, the short is like, I don't know if I call it a musical because there's no singing in it, but there's no dialogue. Like it's all based on music and like expressions and like the character acting, like because I didn't want to deal with dialogue for the short because I had such a short amount of time. I really wanted to show what these characters are like just through their acting and through the music. And like from what I could tell, a lot of people understood like what was going on in the short and like what the characters were. Like Richard King, the king, is more like naive and kind of wants to do things his way. Gilles was the more stubborn one, and then Michelangelo is the middle ground man. He's like, come on, like let's try to give him a chance. So it was nice, like through no dialogue, people still understood what was going on. And like that was my biggest fear, is like I didn't want people to watch it and be like I didn't understand what was happening.
Yeah, I also like how you sort of frame the gesture character as being sort of the reasonable one who's helping the other two characters come together.
Yeah, like I think Michelangelo is my favorite character out of the three. Originally, like I was going to make him more goofy and like silly, but I was like, I kind of like that he's more like the middleman. And then I made Richard the more like not crazy silly, but like a little. He's a bit more younger and a bit more immature with his choices.
Yeah, I really like the dynamic.
Yeah.
And so, Melissa, how do you describe Sweet?
I remember when I was working on it and I had like this beautiful description, and it's been a few months now, so I kind of forgot some of it. But essentially, Sweet is kind of like a love letter in a way, in an appropriate sense. I'm not trying to win everyone's hearts, so to speak. But it to me was kind of meant to be about explaining or my understanding of what the word sweet means. So like, you think of sweet, you think of candy, things that taste sweet, but then there's also like doing something sweet like giving someone flowers or hugging your friend or giving your friend coffee or giving your grandma like a present or whatever. So I really wanted to just play with that idea and play with music, and then I came up with this little short film. So yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked the way that you used the rhythm from the music. I'll ask you more questions about it later, but I thought the connection between animation and music is always one that I really enjoy a lot. Shane, how would you describe the gate?
I would describe it as a risk, really. Like when we started, I never really had such a beautiful way to say why I was doing it. Like literally, no joke. I was just like, I've never seen a short about a grave robber. Let's try it. Like, how do I make this scary? I don't know. And then I kind of had the setting, and the idea came from a scene from The Prophecy. From like a 1995 movie called The Prophecy, and it was a camera angle. It's like the opening shot of where he's digging. It's pretty close, but it's Christopher Walken sitting on a grave. And I just remember I saw it, and somehow like most of the story just like kind of flashed there. And I'm like, I hope this works. Let's try it out. And
All right, so I wanted to ask you all questions about your films. Melissa, I really enjoyed the use of smear frames and transitions in between scenes in Suite. Which transition of the ones that you picked took the most planning?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think that when I was doing my Leica for this, I had a very organic approach. So the way it all started was I actually picked my music first, but I picked it based off of the beat and not necessarily the song. Ended up loving the song, so I ended up keeping it. But so when I was doing the Leica, I straight aheaded all of the individual items, and then I played it through, and it was just popping from item to item, and then I would just start moving things, and I would be like, okay, how do I get from this to this? Maybe if I do this, it'll kind of work. Maybe if I just pop onto the other thing, it will work. So I'm not so sure that any transition in particular took more time than the other or was more difficult. I think the execution of it was really tricky in the short time that we had to do the shorts. But I think out of all of them, some of my favorite ones are right at the beginning, because I really like food, so that's part of it. But also, some of those transitions are really just big spacing pops, and like we never get to do that usually. A lot of the times, even if we're doing really snappy and fun animation, it's still kind of in the sort of Mercury parameters, and I'm like, I'm gonna break that. So definitely some of the ones like the cupcake and the lollipop and the donut and the bubble tea, had some today. Those are some of my favorite ones because it was just like breaking the mold, and I probably spent the most time on those just because I like them so much.
Yeah, one thing I really liked about all three of your shorts is that there's so much personality to them. You can really tell that these are all different subjects and different characters or settings or techniques that each of you really has a passion for. And one of the things about working at a studio, even a studio that's working on some really amazing projects, is that you sort of have to take your style and your personality and put it aside and work with underneath someone else's style for a while. And it was really cool to see all of the different projects that you were all working on.
that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rebecca and Shane, I wanted to invite you, if you have any thoughts or questions or comments about Sweet, what went through your minds when you first saw the short?
I loved that she was doing hand drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. It really that's when I started seeing like how different all these shorts were. And it's Melissa, so it's gonna be so warm and fuzzy and nice. And it's gonna cheer you up. And it's so appealing. And that song was in my head for like 3 weeks after we had the
Yeah.
screening. I love it.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, no, so I think Melissa's one of the sweetest person I've ever met, and like, no pun intended, but like when I saw her short, I'm like, this just oozes Melissa's energy.
Thank you.
No, I love like animation that syncs with music. It's like one of my favorite genres. So when I saw that she was doing that, I was like, yes.
Yeah, and you also mentioned too that you picked the track for the song. I think it was called Sunder Jazz.
Yes, if there's anyone in the chat that knows how it's pronounced properly.
Yes, type out how it's pronounced properly, and we'll try.
I think it's Sunday, but I'm not sure because I'm not Japanese. But yes, I feel really, really grateful that I stumbled across that song because it was just something. I was just looking for something that was electronic, that was upbeat, that felt warm, and that inspired me. And I was like, cool, I found this. Like, I'm just going to animate to it and then swap it out with another song that I can use and have the license for. But I was searching and searching and searching. And well, our shorts program went over about 2 months. So it was a lot of time to search. But I remember spending an entire weekend going through musical libraries and just being like, nothing is quite as good as this. And so I ended up reaching out to the composer, and they so graciously gave me permission to use it. And again, I'm just so happy. I even just like the song in general. Like I just like listening to it. So it's a really, really nice song, and it was nice to collaborate in that way, even though it wasn't in tandem. The song was already made, but it felt like we both kind of worked on this thing together in a way.
Yeah, and why don't we just take a second? Who was the composer behind that song?
So they go by Sundar Labs Incorporated online. So I'm not sure if they would like to be known by their actual name or anything like that. So just in case, I'm gonna just leave it at that. But you can find them on YouTube. The song's on YouTube, and it's also on Bandcamp, and you can purchase it there as well.
Okay, that's awesome. So I'm going to ask Rebecca a few questions. Rebecca, I noticed that you posted animation tests of the character rig used in Royal Pain on Instagram. I wanted to ask, how much time and development did you put into these character rigs? They're so cool.
All right, so Michelangelo was the first character that I did because his design was the easiest. He's just a little round ball. I think like it was usually the weekends. I think Michelangelo took maybe I probably started around Friday after work and then finished it around Sunday or Monday. So each character for the full turnaround was like 2 to 3 days. And then, like I said, I love working with with musics, and I like classical music as well. I think growing up with Bugs Bunny and the Looney Tunes stuff, like how they used to do the classic music. So yeah, I was just listening to classical music, and then I heard one of the songs. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cute." So then I didn't even have a plan to what to do in the animation. I just went in, like, start sketching, and then I was like, "Oh, it'd be kind of cute, like if he popped up here, and then like when this beat happens, like he'll zoom down." Like most of the time when I'm storyboarding with the music, which I don't think is the proper way to storyboard, but I mean, it's just me doing it. I'm not doing this for anyone else but myself.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool film. And I also wanted to give Melissa and Shane a chance to say if they had any comments or what they thought about the first time that they saw Royal Pain.
I am such a sucker for stuff set to music, classic cartoons. So she's been working on this for so long that I know what her characters look like. But when I started seeing them moving to the song, I was like, oh, it's like Bugs Bunny. Loved it.
Is it my turn? Okay, same here. I love it too.
Yeah.
It's such a nice, like, what I really love about Rebecca's film especially is that it gives me that sort of classic film feel of like the setup and the conflict and all that stuff, and it's just got such great comedic timing. Like at the end with the flies, this is one of my favorite parts. Of course, I like really snappy cut to comedy sort of things, and it filled me up with joy.
Thank you.
It is really fun to have a setup and to see things lead to it and then smash cut. Shane, I wanted to ask, all right, what drew you to animated horror, and how did that inform the choices that you made in the style and technique in the gate? Because it looks unlike anything that I've really seen.
That means the world to me, Mike. That's awesome. My influences were, where do I even start with this? It's just it's been a while since I've gone back, but like I was saying earlier, like I just wanted to try something that I've never seen before. I know animated horror has been done. Like people have probably done some amazing scenes. I suck at keeping up with like Instagram. I'm trying to work on it, but like I know it's out there. But as a personal challenge, I've never really seen animated horror myself. And I really, really wanted to give it a shot. The scary thing about it was like, I knew working on it, like I could competently get this done the way I'm looking at it. But like the scary thing doing horror that I found was like, I don't get to say if this is working, you know, it's like, it's either going to work when it's done or it won't. And the risk kind of like really fueled me, because I'd have never really felt anything like that when we're doing these awesome shows. It's just like, it's going to be we'll get the scenes done and it'll look good. But when you're stepping up to the plate and you got to deal with like the risk like this, it was worth chasing.
Yeah, and you used really unconventional techniques in some ways in the gate. So I wanted to ask, like, what possessed you to draw everything in bitmaps in Harmony?
This is a tale. Now, when we started this and I finished the Leica, I have never really done BGs before. So what happened was I was like, oh crap, like I got to learn how to do this, or at least in the style that I know like I can get. This is what happened. I came in, the personal challenge for me was like, I've been painting in Harmony pseudo like vectorized stuff enough to get a style across, but I started about a month before this, I started playing around with the BMP brushes, and I didn't like them at the time. But I knew, I was like, okay, the challenge is like, let's do everything in Harmony. I'm going to have to learn how to paint in Harmony. But really what it was like, I have to learn how to paint. So what I did was I came in, got a couple beverages just to mellow out. This was on a Saturday. I came in here and no joke, I just looked at Frank Frazetta paintings for like 4 hours. And I'm not saying I learned how to paint like him, but I was like, how do you even approach this? So looking at that and trying to break it down how I would try and do it, I think I found the style there. But what's really crazy about it is every painting in the gate is one layer. There are no other layers. They're all done on one.
What?
So crazy.
Wait.
Yeah. It's easier than it looks.
That's the real scary thing, not the short
Everything
sound.
about it. It's scary.
If you saw the approach, you'd see. But the crazy thing, Mike, like that really floored me, I did not know this, was how light they are in Harmony. We deal with these PS, like these BGs and shows that are like, dude, they're like 2 gigs. They're huge. And I knew I was onto something where like I'd export it and it's like 2 megabytes. And I'd be like, no, that's not right. There has to be an alpha channel with it. And then like I tried to upscale it and it's like only 4 megabytes. And I'm like, what is happening? And it's like I stumbled across this ultra compression and it made the gate go that much quicker.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like a happy accident.
So I have to ask, Melissa and Rebecca, what did you think when you saw Shane's film?
Like I always whenever I get the chance, I'll sneak by Shane's desk after like work, and throughout the whole process, I was like sneaking some peeks here and there to see like what he's working on. And he was saying like he didn't know if it was going to be scary. At the premiere, I remember one of the like kids there was crying because it was scary.
It was the CEO's kid of the company.
Yeah.
Bye raise.
But it worked though.
Yeah, I feel like that's good praise. The cries of a small child watching your
Yeah,
work.
you done good then.
Yep.
Yeah,
When you make
yeah,
little
that's
kids-
what
when
every
you make little
animator
kids
wants
cry.
to hear. So
That's the
this
best
was all
review.
part of a this is all part of a talent development process at Mercury Filmworks. What did you personally learn or have a chance to work on while developing these films that you didn't really could do in your day-to-day job? Rebecca, we'll start with you.
I learned how to like manage my time. Like I had to do that anyway with my full time, but like working 8 hours at the studio, you don't have a whole lot of energy left after work. So I think this really pushed me to come out of my comfort zone. And even if I was tired, like just to find that energy to do that little extra work. And I think like because of that, now whenever I'm done work, all I want to do is work on my own stuff. And like I love doing small little animations. And now people are like, well, how you're not burning out? And I said, I don't know. And honestly, like I'm just going with it. Because I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe tomorrow I'll just finally snap and burn out. So
Let's hope not.
so I'm just gonna keep going until it runs out. Which hopefully.
Did you find that having like a deadline and a program to like work towards helped with the development of Royal Pain?
Yeah, I need deadlines. If Heath was like, you can have all the time in the world, it will never get done. Because so I have ADHD, and I need strict like timelines and deadlines to help me like push myself to that. If I'm given too much too much freedom, then like my brain just starts to wander off because I'm like, whatever, I'll get it done later.
Yeah, well said. So Shane, I wanted to ask you also, what did you personally learn or have a chance to work on while developing your film that was different than what you do in your day-to-day?
I learned how to BG paint in my style, at least. But I've never really thought about that. I learned that there's an audience for animated horror. I want to take it to the next level, like get another swing at the bat. And I learned I could hit a deadline with it.
Well, one of the things is like whenever animated horror comes up, there is a clamoring. The people come out of the woodworks and are like, "Yes, we want to see this."
I recently joined Instagram. Like after I finished it, the messages I got from people that are like, like I never thought it would resonate, but just like hearing people say like, "Oh my God, what's going on? Is Mercury making a horror movie show or something?" And I was like, "What?" And it was just really cool to see it pop within like the animators. It was awesome.
I feel like if Clint is watching,
Hi, Clint.
I would love to see a horror anthology. So that'd be really exciting. Melissa, what did you learn while working on Sweet that you didn't get to do in your day-to-day role?
I think the biggest thing that I learned is that I can be really resourceful, because I don't think that in our day-to-day I ever have to animate as fast as I animated on this short. Like I went so quick. There was like no time for like, oh, let me go back if it no, we're gonna keep going, we're gonna keep that spacing big. And so really coming out of it, I realized that like I can give myself a little bit more credit. Like I can figure stuff out, you know. I don't have to be afraid of starting a project because I won't know how to proceed. I'll figure out a way, or I'll figure out another way to go about it if it's not really what I want it to be. And honestly, I learned a lot from it, and still am learning from it now. And really, I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to do more and to spend more time to give it a little bit of extra thing. Because even though I was really happy I did it in the time and I went fast, I don't know that I ever want to go that fast ever again.
It's pretty
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
So you three were three of the four first artists to go through this process at Mercury Filmworks. You're kind of the guinea pigs in some ways. Based on your experience, do you have any advice for studios who are considering starting an internal shorts program like the one at Mercury? Rebecca, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I say go for it. Like, not only our studio, but like all the studios in Ottawa. Like, every studio is just oozing with talented people. And I know like a lot of people have a lot of creativity in their mind. It's just they just kind of need that little push to like get started. And I love seeing shorts because you get to see like what the person's like mind is like, I guess.
Yeah, and one of the cool things I heard about the Mercury Shorts program is that all of the artists retain the rights to the shorts that they produced. Is that correct?
Yeah. I know like when I was working on this short, a lot of people were asking me, they're like, well, does this mean Mercury like owns Royal Pain? And I remember for a little bit, I was a little nervous because I was like, oh, I don't want that. Like, these are my characters. So, no, I think shortly after people were asking that, Mercury was like, no, like, this is 100% yours. We're just here to kind of give you that little boost to get going.
Yeah. Shane, I wanted to ask if you have any advice for studios that are interested in starting their own shorts program.
I say jump. I think right now, personally, like now that I'm actually on Instagram, there's so many amazing outside styles happening right now. People are doing things in ways where I'm just like, how would they even think about doing this? Like it feels like it's like the 70s or something all over again. Just all these experimental animations are happening and they're so well done. People are finding their own language within like their interpretation of the art form.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the perfect time. And like Melissa said, these studios are oozing with such talented people. Like, just jump. It's so worth it.
And Melissa, based on your experience, do you have any advice for studios that want to start a shorts program?
Absolutely. I will be the same. Go for it, do it. But also when you do it, keep your people in mind as well. Because like for us, the way that it was structured, and the way that it still is structured, because it's going on right now too, is that we had some dedicated time aside that was set for us so that we could work on our shorts. We weren't necessarily doing our 8 hours during the day and then working on the shorts. It was a whole day where we could work on it. So if any studio is thinking about starting a shorts program, also please think of the people doing it. Try to support them and give them the space to be able to creatively put their whole mind into it. Yeah, if you do that, you'll get some really great results. And I know there's studios that do that on a smaller scale or a bigger scale already. And whatever they're doing is also really great to look at as well. So, you know, picking and choosing the qualities of shorts programs and applying it to your own studio or group or whatever it may be is definitely a great way to not go through maybe some of the hardships that we might have gone through already before.
Yeah, well said. I wanted to take some time to go through some of the audience questions that we received while going through this panel discussion. Megalovania Art has asked, considering this was a 1-minute film that each of you produced, how long was the production on your short films?
Too short.
2 months. It was 2 months on our own time. From what I remember, Mercury gave us, was it 4 days? So one every 2 weeks?
Yes.
One
Yeah.
full day. Yeah, every
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, so one full day, like let's say I work a Monday to Friday, that one Monday will be just my day. But that still wasn't enough time. Like you can't get a 1 minute animation done in 4 days. So a lot of it was like on your own time too, like after work on the weekends. My whole summer was just gone because like I was just working on the short, and then I know friends are like, "Hey, like, want to go to the beach?" And I'm like, "Nope, gotta work on this."
Yeah,
That pretty
I
much
saw
sums it up.
a comment. Oh,
That was it.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Melissa, what was your comment?
Oh, that was it. I was just saying that sums it up.
Okay, yeah. I saw our friend Tim Giovanni just asked, how did you pitch the shorts within the studio? He saw that all the different styles were very unique and very personal to each of you. So I was curious about what that process was like. I'll start with Rebecca.
All right. So what was the question again? Could you just say one more
Yeah,
time?
what was the pitch process like? Like, how did you take your idea and propose the short?
So Royal Pain, in my mind, it already has a story. Um, so within that story, I just kind of wanted to show like a small like segment of what the characters are like. And originally it was a 2 minute animatic, and then Heath looked at that and he's like, "That's way too long." So we managed to cut it down to 1 minute, and like I think the best part was when I did the animatic, there was a lot more shots and it was a lot more complicated. But Heath, like the wizard he is, was able to cut a lot of the shots out but not lose any of the magic. Which I was really happy about that.
As far as the pitching process goes,
Oh yeah.
like no, that's awesome. But like before that, I remember we had to submit very rough outline ideas. When I mean rough, I mean the original idea that I did, garbage can. But there was enough there for Heath to just be like, "Okay, I see where you're going," and like, and then jump on the Leica. But yeah, those drawings are rough, but the idea was there. Like I had like at least little camera moves and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for those outside of Mercury Filmworks, when Rebecca, Shane, and Melissa are mentioning Heath, that's Heath Kenny, Mercury's chief content officer, who I think he was one of the people involved with starting the shorts program.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, he's the guy who lit the match.
Yeah. So Shane, what was the pitch process like for the gate?
Literally, when I had the direction, I drew it out, and it was drew out in Harmony. It was just a bunch of squares, and the guy looked like Gumby, straight up.
Yeah.
Like, but there was arrows, and I know it was like rough to look at, but I would write like, "No, seriously, in this part, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be pushed. He has a shovel and he throws it aside." But it was just enough to show like, hey, it's all gonna lead up to this one moment,
Mm-hmm.
There's certainly, I would never post that like anywhere. Like it's like I'm not even coloring inside the lines on it. It's awful. But it was really free just to get the idea out like super quick, see if it would work.
Yeah. And I always tell this to a lot of like young artists too. Like you're like whenever I draw something, like the first like pass is so rough. Like I would never just show it to anyone. But the point is to get the like from here to like on paper somehow. Because I know a lot of people like whenever they draw something, they try to make it perfect the first time. And I'm like, no, it's never going to work that way. Like the first time is never going to be the final time.
I know in storyboarding there's a tension between having like really on model characters and then having like the roughest, most shorthand characters you can possibly draw to get the boards done. So it's interesting to hear from your perspective on the production side. Melissa, I wanted to ask, so what was the pitch process like for Sweet?
So I kind of come from a little bit of like a mixed art background. So I think that my pitch process was a little bit artsy fartsy, so to speak. It felt kind of like a almost like a submission for like a gallery or something, because all I really presented was like a concept, and my visuals were like just stock images of things. But I basically kind of talked about the description of my film, so it didn't really change too much from pitch to final product, because there was no visuals to go with it, that were drawn by me really. But yeah, I talked about, hey, for this short film I want to explore this word, and here's some pictures of candy, and here's what the color palette might look like, and here's some of the things that I might put in there. I know at one point I wanted to put a cat in there because I'm a cat person and it just didn't fit, but like, it was stuff like just naming some things and trying to describe the feeling of what it was going to be. And it wasn't just about making something about what sweet is, but also having the goal of having the viewers feel sweet and warm inside too. So it was a feeling, it was a description. It wasn't like what Shane or Rebecca did, which I think is kind of interesting too.
Yeah, well, I think it's also just interesting that not only were the films really different, but the pitching processes on all three were really different, and your films all got made, which is a huge accomplishment for something that you had 4 work days to work on. We got a question about the responses to your films. So I'll start with Shane this time. Shane, you mentioned that you had people commenting on Instagram that they want to see more animated horror. Were you expecting that reaction?
No, not at all. Like where it kind of started where I would just do these scenes like on my own. Like I was working on this character called Pentagram, and it was so dark. And even like at people at work, like I would show people and they'd be like, "That's awesome. I want to see that show right now." And I was like, "Do you really?" Like, what? Like, I want to see this show too. And then, I started posting stuff and it got like a response. I might not have like a trillion billion followers or whatever, but like it was starting to resonate. So I'm like, okay, all right, this is definitely worth exploring for me.
And Rebecca, I saw that you started a Discord channel with more material from
Mhm.
Royal Pain. How many people have interacted and taken you up on the offer to see like more of the behind the scenes on it?
Well, I mean, on the Discord server, there's about 30 people on it. But it's not just about Royal Pain. Like in this channel, I really encourage people to like share their art, and then like just to help promote other people, like try to start their own stuff too. Um, but yeah, like I'll just post like little doodles of the characters, and I mean, I do have like two servers. So one is like the public one, and I also have a development one, but that's more private, and that has like all the scenes and like what the story is about. Um, but yeah, like it's on Discord and Twitter. That's where I post all my stuff. I know a lot of people are all about Instagram. I'm trying to post more on Instagram, but I met a lot of good people on Twitter.
It is hard to keep up with multiple platforms if you also have a day job that is not keeping up with multiple platforms.
Yeah.
But it is really cool to see artists post on Twitter. I see a lot of people in pre-production posting on Twitter, and I also do see a lot of people posting on Instagram. You can find a lot on various hashtags like Harmony or Storyboard Pro.
Yeah.
But did you get any other responses to your film that you really enjoyed or you thought were really insightful?
Yeah, I got a lot of fan art throughout the
That's
film.
awesome.
No, it was just like it was mostly Michelangelo because like he's the little cutie guy. No, but it was really flattering when people were like, "Hey, like I loved your short. Like I made this drawing for you." And it's like, "Wow, like you took the time to make something for me." And like I don't know. It warms my heart whenever people do that. Like
And sorry, I was a little bit too quick to jump in there. I'll let you continue.
Oh, no. I was just gonna say, like, I know, like, I get a lot of people saying, like, so what's next? Like, are you gonna make another short? The only thing is, it takes a lot of work to do just a 1 minute short. So I am doing like a mood trailer. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more time for that. But that's the next step. And I usually do updates so people can see like along the progress.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're working with art at 12 or 24 frames per second, a minute becomes pretty daunting.
Yeah. It's funny because like at first I was like, oh, only a minute, because I was like, that's not enough time to tell a story. But you'd be really surprised like how much you could do in 1 minute, and it's still a lot of work, like just for 1 minute. I can't imagine like a 22-minute show by yourself.
Melissa, how do you describe the response to Sweet?
It was sweet, actually. Please don't throw rocks at me. I actually, most of the response I've kind of kept to people that I've seen in real life. I kind of like to just like post things to the internet and then disappear into the void, because sometimes like it's not really for me. And I mean it's great to get like responses and stuff and like to interact with people that enjoy what we're making. But sometimes I'm just kind of like, this is for you. Please enjoy if you would like it. I'm just going to go over here and do other things. And I have a lot on the go outside of work as well. And I do a lot of community work and stuff like that too, within the animation community, I mean. And that really takes up a lot of my free time. So it's been really nice. And I hope that if anyone's here watching right now and hasn't seen our shorts yet, that you also really enjoy it, and feel free to leave a comment if you like, but I'm leaving it to you to enjoy. And yeah.
So I asked you all earlier if you had advice for studios that are considering an internal shorts program. Now I want to ask, do you have any advice for artists who are interested in participating in such a program? Rebecca, do you have any advice for some of your colleagues at Mercury who are interested in participating in the shorts program, or other artists who are interested in participating in similar activities?
Well, I know anyone at Mercury can do it. like the talent that we have there is just insane. But I always tell people, like, be realistic with your goals. Like I know I get a lot of young people that come to me. They're like, hey, like I got this 22-minute pilot that I want to do on my own. I was like, okay, let's bring that down to maybe 1 minute. And the real challenge is like, can you tell a story in a minute? And can you make the audience care? But yeah, like I tell people, be realistic, but also like it has to be a project that you love and look forward to working on your own time, because it's still a lot of work. Yeah, so like don't choose a project that you're gonna like dwell on working. It has to be something that you love.
Right. To add to that, sorry. There's also an awesome moment in there to play around and try some stuff that you've wanted to try, make some mistakes and learn from them. That was one of my favorite things about the gate. Like you see the thing finish, but there are so many problems even now. Like I could pinpoint. It's like, God, I wish I fixed that when I had the time. But it's cool to know what didn't work and how you could fix it next time, make it even sharper the next time you do it. It's an awesome opportunity to learn from the little mistakes.
Yeah, I think it's good when you finish a project and you can look back and say, okay, here are all the things I would have done differently, because it means you have opportunity to grow. Melissa, do you have any advice for any artists who are interested in participating in a shorts program?
Absolutely, yes. I think if you are considering making a short film, do it. Be brave and do it. Don't let any of your expectations stop you. Don't let the fear of putting it online and having people see it stop you either. The most important thing that we can do as artists is to continue to create, because that's what we're supposed to do. And everybody loves, consuming art and being wrapped up in art. And the more that you can present your point of view to the world, the more we can all understand each other a little bit better. So it's really, really just such an amazing thing to do, not just to come out with a film, but to contribute something to everyone and be a part of like that sort of bigger community sort of feeling. So, well, maybe now that sounds like it's a lot of pressure. It's not,
No.
but just make the thing and put it out there. And no matter what it is, no matter what it looks like, it's still going to have a meaningful impact on someone.
You rule, Melissa.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
It's like the best answer of all
Yeah.
of us.
You guys are so
Melissa, I wanted to
nice.
ask you, was there any part of creating Sweet that surprised you, like just the process or the results or any of the things you learned along the way?
Yeah, I didn't think that I was gonna be as stressed out as I ended up being. Because I've made films before. I know what it's like. My last film was my thesis film, which was also a 1-minute film, and we had 8 months to do that during the school year. So I knew it was gonna be a challenge, but like I didn't know what kind of a challenge it was gonna be. So I think, yeah, like the biggest thing was that I didn't a lot of the things that I'm talking about right now about doing it anyways and seeing it through is because like there were times where I didn't want to see it through anymore, because
Yeah.
it was so much, and I was like, well, I want it to look exactly like this, and if it doesn't look exactly like this, then I shouldn't finish it. But no, because then I never would have done it, and then there wouldn't have been something to share. And yeah, so it always comes from a personal place whenever I talk about those kind of things, because I went through it, and being on the other side of it, I'm like, yeah, I'm really glad that I pushed through, because I can always go back and make it a little bit shinier if I want.
Yeah.
But it's harder to do that when it's not completed. Having something that's like halfway there or 75% of the way there, and you just have to have that last push, that last little thing, it becomes bigger the more that time passes. So yeah, that was the biggest thing, just pushing through, and even being surprised that I could push through, as much as I felt stressed out about the situation and
Yeah.
everything.
I think it was like the last
Yeah.
2 weeks was the most stressful for
Oh,
all of
yeah.
us.
Because like up until that, I was like, yeah, we still have 2 weeks. That's fine. And then I was like, oh my gosh, we have 9 days left.
Yeah, it was like, I think 1 in the morning. I was like, I'm never gonna get this done.
Yup. Yup.
I got it done though.
Exactly. So yeah.
Shane, was there anything while you're producing The Gate that surprised you?
Yeah, we touched on it earlier. To like, I'm bringing it up again because like it really blew my mind how light those paintings were that I could manipulate. Like that last shot where he gets pulled in would have destroyed me if I didn't come across the really light beachy elements. I set the final month for that one shot. Everything else before that was pretty much done, aside from the sound mixing. But like finding that in regards to like the approach with my film was the thing that like was like, oh, this is valuable. I love this. And yeah, I've been like, ever since the short's been done and I've been moving on to like other scenes, I've been abusing it like crazy. So yeah,
And,
it's
I also got the sense too that you were sort of setting out to surprise yourself a little bit, because you were telling me before the stream that you would talk to the people in the compositing department and ask them what nodes they use, and then purposely use all the nodes that they never used.
oh yeah, or at least trying. Like, why wouldn't we use them? But even a more surprising thing was like we had these checkpoints along the way, but I told them when it was done. Like I lied to them the entire way, straight up. I was just like, yeah, it's done. It's going real good. They were completed to a point, but like I knew, since I was learning BGs on the fly, I was like, okay, it's done for now, but I'll go back in when I do more of them, and then I'll tighten it up. So like they're like, this is done, and I'd be like, yes. But really, and the one thing I never told them until it was done was I've never tried to mix a cinematic soundscape before. I know how to mix and master audio. I did not know how to do that. But Heath came up and he's like, "You're good?" I'm like, "Yeah." So that was also the challenge.
And Rebecca, was there anything that surprised you during the production of your film?
I think the thing that surprised me is I actually got it done. Like I said, like I think this project was a huge push for how much I can get done. Because for me, my mind wanders all the time and I start to lose focus. And I think with this project, it really forced me to like buckle down and kind of get over that issue of mind wandering. And because of that, like now I can work on my own stuff over like after work and I still have the energy for it, which I don't know how. It's like, I don't know, like when I was working on this short, I gave myself like a little high, and now I keep getting that high when I create my own things.
All right, that's a really awesome point to end on.
Yeah.
So we are almost running out of time. Where can our viewers find more of your work? I'll start with Rebecca. Where can people find more stuff from you?
Okay, so I was not creative with my username. If you literally just type in Rebecca Kartzmark on Google, I think my Twitter should be the first few, like in the first part of the page. Yeah, so then within Twitter, I have the links to my Discord. I also have my Coffee account, which also has like all my artwork that you can see. It has links to videos that I might like that I can share that on YouTube. But yeah, it's mostly Twitter that I use.
As someone who posts stuff on social media for Toon Boom, my favorite thing is when I'm tagging artists, and there are artists who have like, you know, their first name, last name as their handle, and then someone with a name like Dilfosar, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome, because you have like a list of 3, like, you know, boring name, and then like cartoon name.
Yeah.
I love it every time. Shane, where can people find more of your work?
On my Instagram.
You're still muted. I can hear you, but no one else can.
Okay. It's good?
Yeah.
Okay. On my
We can hear you.
Instagram. Awesome. So you can just type in my name, which I assume is going to be somewhere on the link, hopefully, here. But if you want to search for the name, it's Time Scum. Time.scum. At Time Scum.
And what can they find there?
Darkness for now. There's more cartoony stuff on its way tonight.
You promise?
And Melissa,
Yes, I promise.
where can people find more of your work?
I'm exclusively on Instagram, so you can find me at MelissaLynn21, as in the number 21. There, sometimes my profile's private, but it's not right now. And yeah, I post a lot of like little character designs and things that I'm working on, and that sort of stuff. So yeah, hope to see some of you there.
All right. Melissa, Shane, Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us for today's stream. And also thank you to Amit at Cartoon Brew for giving this panel a shout out on Twitter. It was really cool of you. Keep an eye on our stream social pages for upcoming streams. And next Tuesday, Marie-Eve Lasselle will be hosting an art stream using Storyboard Pro. So if you're at all curious about the tools in the program that can make your life easier, you won't want to miss it. Tune in next time.
All right, thank you.
This is awesome.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks.